Welcome to the Just Chatting stream that is now a podcast only. We were meant to go live, but technical difficulties. What is Rage without it anyway? So this is Rage Weekend, and by the time this podcast will be up, we will be done with Rage Weekend. But we would just like to keep the conversation going, and it's very much a discussion like you would have at Rage Expo, very much about geek culture, gaming, just who you are, meeting cool people, and also learn a lot more about esports. So myself, I'll start with the introductions. You guys can follow suit, because I think that's the best way. Julia, in-game name Bish, so that's where the Bish comes in. It's not my second name. Robson, it's a chosen name, Bish. And I am the owner of DNMK Esports, and also the, how could I say, esports personality locally, and live stream on Twitch. And I'll be moving on to Alix, who's actually a part of DNMK, so go ahead.
Yeah, I'm Alix, surname Trouble de Nermo.
That's why I moved over.
Yeah, great. So my in-game name is Altruli. I am a professional, I'm the captain of the Apex Legends team and professional esports competitor for DNMK.
Cool. Markus?
Awesome. I'm Markus Bosch. I'm actually not a gamer. I'm just a general pop culture enthusiast. I love everything about it. I'm actually a student at the University of Pretoria. I study engineering there. But yeah, it's nice to be here, and thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you for coming.
I'm Rob Forbes. I host a radio show on 5FM. I play games badly from time to time. I need some Alex to carry me through Apex for sure. And then I've been sort of in and around the esports scene for a while now. Just sort of helping out, because when you work in media and so on, you have a platform to expose. I know the gaming community wants more, people to understand that we are serious about this, and esports is a growing thing, but somebody needs to tell them. So I've sort of taken that role on about trying to mainstream the culture a little bit.
Nice.
Yeah. Love it. My name is Mojak Lehoko. I'm Rob Forbes' stunt voice when he can't do the hectic voiceovers. I do stand-up, I play casual video games, and I'm pretty new to this esports culture, but I'm keen to learn more and be immersed in it,
Yeah, so if we can put it in very quick fire question, for me, obviously, I'm very involved with competitive esports, so that's sort of where I've got involved specifically with Call of Duty, then CSGO, dabbled in a little bit of Apex Legends. We were in a team for a season or a season and a half.
Yes,
How did it go?
Now, obviously, it was actually quite good. I'm not going to lie. He carried us. Hence why he's the captain of the current DNMK Apex Legends team. But Alix, you're obviously into Apex Legends solely.
Yes.
And you played some CS in the past.
Yeah, so actually I started Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. I played pretty much everything. Modern Warfare 3, League of Legends, Hearthstone, CSGO. I think everything, Ghosts, Black Ops, everything that was on the market on DGL, I was competing. I couldn't play one game. I played PUBG before it was competitive. I put 600 hours in, and then it went competitive.
Yeah, CSGO.
So, CSGO as well, everything. Wow. Yeah. So pretty much everything. I didn't have one game. This was the first time that I've actually focused on one particular game for a longest period of time.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but it feels like you take this seriously.
Yes.
I get a vibe that you're like,
he's an overachiever for sure. Even in Counter-Strike, he's currently global elite.
Oh, wow.
And I play the game quite often. I'll play 3 or 4 competitive games a day. And Alex just jumps in every now and again, just top scores, 30 bombs, global elite, no problem. I'm LEM currently, used to be a global elite, but got worse, and he just consistently stays at the top there. So definitely a bit of an overachiever, let's be honest.
Cool, so the kind of people I hate seeing in lobby.
Yeah, the worst.
Maybe.
The worst.
As a casual one.
Yeah.
As a filthy casual.
So Rob, you obviously play a bit of Apex Legends
Yes.
on the side.
I'm actually a season behind. I'm a whole season
Two
behind.
seasons.
I haven't played the new map at all. I've had a lot of stuff going on, but during early lockdown and so on, it's been great fun. I mean, you and I have even played a couple of games together.
We have.
I'm not great, you can attest. But I'm not terrible. I'm not the worst player you've ever seen.
No, absolutely not. You know your way around gaming at the very least, which is all you really need to do at the start.
Absolutely. No, I'm never going to be elite at these games.
Well, just
Yeah,
believe.
no.
Just believe, Rob. Just believe.
I'm never going to be you at FIFA good.
Oh,
for example.
no one's ready for me at FIFA. Nobody.
So,
Oh,
yeah.
1v1 you and people.
So, Mojak, you play FIFA on the side then, right?
I do. I kind of hate it, to be honest. The server's always cutting out on me, but I'm very competitive in the Candy Crush community.
Okay.
On about 452,
Also,
you know, yeah.
How many hours did you lose to raging and
On-
tilting at FIFA Ultimate Team this lockdown?
Can I tell you something crazy, right? I play FIFA, but I have ASMR going in through my headphones. So I don't listen to game audio. I'm listening to like Reiki and finger practice. Like just to calm me down.
No, but the
it
thing
was
is,
that hectic.
the commentary of the game as well. It's
Yeah.
like, it just gets to you after a while.
Triggers you after a while.
Makes
Yeah.
you so angry.
I know that was a bad pass. Shut up.
So,
Yeah.
Marcus, do you play any games at all?
Oh yeah, no, I'm actually more of a single, like a offline. Like I love my FIFA, and I'm an avid Clash Royale player. But lately the game has been disappointing me. Like they really haven't been listening to the community. I feel, but like they're getting back there because they had a massive new update, the Clan Wars 2. But that disappointed a bit. So, but yeah, I actually follow a few guys there as well, like the YouTubers there. Like, but the game does make me very angry. The other day, I just downloaded like Dragon Ball Legends just to like get my mind off of it because that game makes me very angry. But I love playing stuff like The Witcher, Assassin's Creed. I do dabble in shooters from time to time, but I'm really no good at first-person shooters. So, but I really love my like RPGs and everything. Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, cool. So we touched on like just getting to know each other a little bit, and I want to kick off. You know, we've had a good vibe already, you know, laughing and making jokes, but taking it a little bit serious and getting your opinion on specifically the time that the world is in now, which is COVID-19 and the pandemic that we are all facing, and how it all started, because I do feel like over the last 10 years or so, everybody has seen a great growth in esports internationally and the gaming scene. So even now with COVID, a lot of sports couldn't continue. So a lot of sporting fans went over to the e-version of that sport. So we saw that with Formula One. We saw that with FIFA. And we saw that with a bunch of, even with education, they allowed kids to play, you know, esports instead of regular sports. You still have that team building atmosphere. And that was definitely a conversation that even myself personally had with individuals in South Africa. So I would like to get you guys' opinion on just generally how you guys feel about this, you know, stage that we're in, but more specifically about esports and pop culture, which is another thing that comes into play here. So with Rage, we know it's all about esports, gaming, and pop culture. So I want to cover all those aspects in this topic and just see what you guys think about. I think, Alix, we should start with you because you were competing from the start of this, and just see how it was to shift from going to LAN events and having that to look forward to and having everything now be online.
Yeah, so I think LAN events is a very big part of the major big part of the competitive scene, because the energy that is at a LAN is way different. I mean, sitting at your house, playing the game for 10 or let's say 6 to 10 hours, it does get to your mind. Whereas if you just change the whole scenery, you sit in your own booth, it's just you and your team, 50,000 people, let's say, let's be nice, 5,000 people watching, you know, that whole energy, it takes a whole new
Yeah, I mean, you can only be on Discord so long with your friends.
Exactly. Well, you can only sit on your chair for so long, you know? It's just your chair, you know? I mean, imagine don't have the gaming chair. What are you going to do then?
Wow.
Exactly.
Wow, shots fired.
So yeah, I think the competitive scene, they're literally hungry for those lands. Especially when I had the boot camp the other day. It was so good to just be with the teammates, see them in person, and feel their energy. And you know, hey, it's different.
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I think also from that perspective, he mentioned the boot camp, just to give you guys an idea. DNMK Apex Legends, they are competing in the international service. So ultimately, they are playing with a disadvantage of 160 to 200 milliseconds in Europe. But now with the Bahrain server coming out that's in the Middle East, it's slightly less populated, they get about 140, which is already a little bit more playable, which is great for the scene.
Sure.
Ultimately, the team itself, you still have a lot more to adjust with. So for them as a competitive team, what I wanted to do for them, there are only 3 guys. I basically said, I'll pack up my stuff in my house, clear out my table, take my PC, move out essentially, and you guys move in for the weekend, and let you guys have a bit of a boot camp, because that was something that you needed for that team building, and that happens quite frequently within the normal esports sphere, especially at a high level of esports. So. I just wanted to give you guys some insight as to what we were doing there, just so you guys know.
We thought it was just like a slumber party. It was like swapping control.
I mean, at some points it was. Like, they were literally sleeping on the couch and chilling on the floor. And many
like the high school, like all the lands.
Many inner drinks were consumed. So, I think I want to just chat to you guys from a commercial media perspective, because I think you guys are mostly in that realm. Definitely just chatting from like a media perspective, how the media portrayed this time, specifically about esports, because I know a lot of corporates were also trying to get into it.
Everyone was trying to get in simply because there was nothing else going on.
Exactly.
All of a sudden, people had events cancelled, and now there's marketing budgets sitting around, and if you don't spend your budget, you don't get it the next year. All of a sudden, you're looking at where can we do, what can we do, and the only thing that everyone was doing, the entire planet, there was a period in March, April.
Yeah, everyone is.
Where like for 6 weeks, the entire world was sat on their couches at home, watching fucking Tiger King. That was
the
whole world.
That was a weird time in lockdown.
Yeah,
that was
horrible. A dark time.
It was dark.
That was entertaining, bro. Like, I'm not gonna lie.
That was it at one point. And you see, there was so much streaming at that point. There were so many people, and I don't know if you did it early either, but like so many of the people who, I mean, he's a stand-up comic. We know so many stand-up comics. All of the musicians were, I mean, there were live performances every night from like Chris Martin from Coldplay's Lounge and Beyonce's
Like
Bathroom.
Corin's Zoid, like beyond the top of her, like
and
apartment
every
building,
single person was streaming something. I think so many people came along and gave streaming a go. And it took a little while for the corporates and so on to work out who's doing what, what's happening, what's sustainable, what's vibing. And you saw some things that started on stream blow up very quickly and stayed kind of big. It's going to be interesting to see, like, if next year, let's say the world goes back to normal, which stays? How many people are going to be stayed doing those sorts of things? How many people are going to stay in the streaming space? And how many people who would never have thought about streaming are going to end up being big and well supported because of that? So, like, that we will see, but I think it's definitely been a space for the world to, especially business-wise, look at streaming and take it a little bit more seriously than perhaps they would have.
Talking about the streaming, actually, like movie theaters, actually now, like I know in America, like so many chains are closing down, and like I think it was Paramount Pictures who said they weren't going to bail out like some of the struggling chains now, and they said they're like they hope for the best. But like I know in America, because like Tenet is like the only big film that was released now. It's a Christopher Nolan movie. Like I mean, I went to watch it 3 times in lockdown now. I'm a massive Christopher Nolan fanboy. And it made, I think, $350 million so far now, which is, in a pandemic, it's a ridiculous number. But now the executives apparently aren't happy about it. And I'm like, it's a pandemic. Like, normal times, you'd make 800 million plus, you know, like from this.
Well, I mean, you're talking about cinemas. There was one cinema chain that, the entire chain closed down in the US. I think 400
that is
theaters.
ridiculous.
Because they were waiting, they needed James Bond to come out. The fact that James Bond was delayed, they closed the entire company.
Yeah.
Wow.
400 cinemas and all of those jobs gone. They needed that film at that time, and it didn't arrive. Done.
Yeah, because America is the biggest like movie marketplace, like essentially, and everything is coming from overseas now because America is like so jumbled, and that's why they released Mulan on the straight to video. So a lot of executives, I think, like they're pondering the question now: do we actually start releasing on home theater and but that also begs the question. When we go back to normal, is there even going to be like enough capital left for these companies to actually just like continue with movies? You're not making revenue at all.
So I'm seeing that also happen in more of the general markets, and now we're moving away to definitely more the pop culture, geek culture side of gaming, where you'll see lifestyle brands start collaborating with games and pop culture to get that sort of audience that is now growing larger, because basically people are at home. They're consuming a lot more internet data than they have before, and now you need to see these collaborations come out. So I think it's really interesting that people are moving into esports and seeing that as a platform, but at the same time, it's not necessarily just esports, it's geek culture as a whole. You know?
I mean, points in case being, I don't think the general public realizes how big the industry is for games.
Yes.
It's ridiculous.
The gaming industry makes more money every year than film and
Yeah.
music put together.
It's crazy, yeah.
Which is ridiculous,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I think it's slowly sinking in. And when you look at stuff that happens, like, for example, the big original campaign, you know when, like, brands X collab with a person?
Yeah.
And then, like, the big one that sort of blew up was Adidas X Fenty. And
Yes.
Rihanna did a whole thing.
Puma,
and now,
Puma.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Puma
yeah,
X Fenty.
Adidas.
And that's become a thing. Like, when is there going to be, like, a Nike X Ninja?
Well,
But look at
Adidas
Travis.
X Ninja just came out.
Yeah.
I just wore those shoes yesterday.
Oh, they're out
and
already?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But look at
So-
Travis Scott in Fortnite. Like,
I mean,
Yeah.
that's what I'm
Fortnite has
saying.
been
That's
has
exactly
played
what
a
I
big
mean.
role, like-
Things like
Yeah.
that are going to keep rolling.
Yeah.
The first one was Marshmallow back.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was first the old Marshmallow
Yes.
Yeah.
side where they did the online in the game feature. Of,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I also think that like that is really valid. But unfortunately, big esports like Counter-Strike, for example, is doing kind of not too great. We've seen like really big organizations like 100 Thieves, which is also a very popular organization, quite commercial, has the whole YouTube, Fortnite space, you know, on lockdown pretty much.
Yeah.
They've got that covered. And as a North American organization that's so large, having to cut their CS team just because they're not physically geographically located where all the scrims were happening, where all the events were happening. Like we're also seeing those changes happening in esports. So I think for an esport that we thought would live through the ages till the
Yeah.
end of time, which is Counter-Strike, we never saw an end in it. I mean, it's over 20 years old now.
Yeah.
And it's still going. It's still one of the biggest esports.
You can argue
in the world.
it was getting even more popular the last few years.
Exactly. But now we're actually seeing a decline in the popularity because people are actually expecting that Fortnite-esque collaboration.
Can I ask a question here quickly? You're not super familiar with esports.
Well, I mean, I know.
Like, so let's take CSGO as an example.
Yes,
Counter-Strike. Have
yeah.
you ever tried to watch a Counter-Strike tournament or...
I have. There's like it's a lot of it's in like the minutia.
How do you feel about it as someone who's not from that scene? How do you feel plugging into that? Is it easy to get into? Because initially I didn't find it easy to get into.
I think it's difficult because it's really technical, and even the way the guys speak of a lot of this stuff, where I think a big thing about gaming is like accessibility, being able to jump into a thing without knowing like. I literally learned phrases like meta, you know, most efficient tactic available.
Meta.
Clash
Because
Royale.
I play video games for fun, but I'm getting destroyed by people who know the meta. And
Yeah.
so I think a big thing about gaming is figuring out ways to make it accessible. But when we're talking about like COVID and all of this, I think what games and esport did give people as an opportunity to still interact with one another, even though they weren't in the same place. And I know the models are shifting and changing, but I do think it's like a place where people can hang out and you know, you go watch that Travis Scott concert, which is really bizarre. I was in the thing and I was like, what is going on? Like, everyone's just jumping around or someone in the lobby was like shooting me. And I was like, dude, we're going to watch the concert. Like, just relax. Yeah, you know? And so there are all these new virtual experiences. And I think the thing about esport is it's incredibly intimidating.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people like are just scared and shook by the idea of hopping into these pubs. We were talking earlier about like when I play Apex and I see a diamond trail, I'm like, please just get me out of this lobby. I do not want to like lose with a Mozambique. That's, like I might as well throw the gun at the person.
As you work your way up, you start seeing more and more diamond trails.
You know?
And eventually they're
And
everywhere.
some people are ridiculously good at these games.
Yeah.
Like, you're coming in there, you want to have fun, you just get wrecked all the
Tap
time.
your
man.
ass.
You know,
It's not fun, yeah.
So, but the reason I wanted to ask Mojak that exact question is because coming in from the outside can be intimidating, depending on the game, and depending on the culture around it, and depending on how technical it is.
Yeah.
And because I think about, as I said earlier in the intro, I think about all of this from an outsider's point of
Absolutely.
view, on how you can grow the thing. And I think for a lot of people who are in it,
Yeah.
it's very difficult to have that outsider
Yeah.
view because you understand all the terminology. You know what it looks like. You know where to find stuff on Twitch, for example.
Yeah.
But if you know nothing, like I think
What do you do?
it's very difficult for a streamer. Like if you want to, okay, I want to learn CSGO, right? Let me jump on Twitch and watch a streamer. The guys no one's talking in a way that's accessible to someone who doesn't know. And I think that goes across the board for all of the esports. And I think if it wants to grow and be commercially attractive to partners, it needs to find a way to like open up and bring more noobs in.
Bridge the gap.
Literally there needs to be a function of that.
But I also think that if you look at it from a larger perspective, that we are in a sphere now where it was forced to change our perspective on esports. And it's still very much at the starting phases. I guess people understand words like meta now.
Yeah.
They understand, what the game is about generally, and they might even feel confident enough to download the game because it's free to play and give it a try.
Absolutely.
And I think that's great, but there's still so much education that needs to be done with esports, which is like you get gaming, which is like a big bubble of everything.
Sure.
And then there's a level of esports where you were talking about, you just want to jump into the game and have fun.
Yeah.
And Alix, on the other hand, doesn't even consider that.
Wait,
if
wait.
you aren't killing him,
Can I add
then
something?
you're just a kill to him.
I'm incredibly competitive, so I know I said by fun I mean I want to defeat everyone. Like I want to have
you wanna win.
Yeah, I want to have the
You wanna
10
be
kill
great.
game with like 1500 damage. The problem is that even stuff like skill-based matchmaking is new to a lot of people. So they're like,
Yes.
why am I being destroyed here? And
Yeah.
it's like because you're being ranked. And so a lot of the stuff I had to learn the hard way with FIFA, with the meta, because I was playing with players I liked. And then I went online, I was like, why does everyone have an Alan St. Maximin card? Why does everyone have the same players? And I realized, that's how you play the game. We spoke earlier about the G7, which is really huge in the Apex community.
Yeah.
And I think that
It was meta for a long time.
I think it's that learning curve I think that people struggle with, and so it can be a little bit demoralizing when you hop into one of those lobbies and you're being wrecked, or like your KD ratio is 0.2. And it's like, wow, I hope nobody sees this ever. Like, I think you just have to persevere and just find resources and places. And I think the big thing is giving like the noobs a portal to find out all of this stuff, because you're great at what you do, and we'd love to learn from you. Like if you had like basic, maybe how you do movement or whatever, I think those kind of things help create the community and the understanding and figure out how it works.
Yeah, and this is really good feedback, I think, also for people that are watching this podcast.
Yeah,
that
if you're trying to stream and stuff.
Exactly, because this is exactly what we are moving into, and why so many people are becoming streamers and content creators is because these how-to videos are doing so well on YouTube for a reason.
I feel like that's what started. That's what sets the average YouTuber and streamer and Twitch content creator apart from the regular. Like I've noticed for let's say for Clash Royale, the YouTubers there, the guys who are upping their game, are guys who are really explaining to the average audience what's going on, how do you do this, explaining new decks, how if you're only getting into the game, and that actually makes it a lot easier. And those are the people who are going to continue growing.
Because for example, if I'm watching Alix play Apex, right, and he was saying he mains Pathfinder most of the time, the difference between a streamer just jamming and wrecking people versus him going, okay, watch what I'm going to do here. The grapple's going to the top corner of that building, and then just doing the move so that I can preempt. Sometimes it's very difficult to catch up after the fact or what someone has just done. It's just a little preempt. So hey guys, I'm going to come around that corner. I think he's up there. Watch this. Yeah. And then I know you're about to pull a grapple maneuver. I can watch. I can try and follow along.
Yeah.
It just adds. And I mean, I don't think any players who know what's going on are not going to feel like, oh, why is he doing that?
Yeah.
Nobody's going to feel excluded by bringing lower people into the conversation.
Yeah. Absolutely. So I think we're definitely talking a lot about another theme that I want to touch on, which is learning and education. And I also, obviously, you mentioned that you're a student at the University of Pretoria. And I know that a lot of universities in South Africa are actually trying to get an esports club into their university and start participating in FIFA competitions. Definitely looking at the more mainstream games, because that is sort of the gateway drug, if you can put it in that way.
Wow.
It is. It is easy enough. You understand.
FIFA needs to Counter-Strike.
You understand.
FIFA will kill you on this one, game. FIFA will kill it.
I need that FIFA.
I mean, it is the best explanation to it.
It is.
Console gaming goes back to, playing on a PlayStation 2 on a couch as a child.
Yeah, I'm still a console peasant.
Exactly. So I think it really is sort of the space where you get into it and you start seeing people playing Apex on console and see people playing Apex on PC and you're like, holy crap, these people are so much better than the people on console just because of dexterity, And then you can take it even further and start looking at Counter-Strike or Call of Duty, or and you're taking it further. So that's why I mentioned it. I
Sure.
just needed to clear it up.
Nah, it's all good. It's all good.
Before I got shouted on by someone for calling it a gateway drug. But I do want to talk about the education part of it, because I do see a lot of people reaching out to the esports community, and more specifically taking matters into their own hands, where they're just like, okay, well, we have an esports community now as well. Join up, sign up, here it is. But unfortunately, it never is a good representation of that community necessarily, because there is so much lack of general knowledge that comes into, you know, what hardware you need, you know, what's the setup you need. Like, and generally people that do set these things up might not be the best player in the country. So they don't even know, you know, the tips and tricks to make the event, you know, really pop off. So I think what my question and where I'm going with this is just, how do you guys think that the education space and esports can merge, and where those collaborations can fall in place in the time that we're in now, and then best case scenario later in the future, how do you guys see, you know, high schools and kids actually use esports as a portal of learning that teach them how to use higher technology, for example? So Alex, you want to kick off with that?
Yeah, I think esports has a very, very big opening in the education space. It has been, I've actually invested my time in trying to educate some of the community, you know, giving my free time, be like, okay, listen, I'll take you for an hour, I'm going to watch how you play and give you some advice. But I mean, that's not in the education space, that was just me educating other people. But yeah, I think it's a very big market for that, especially with, I know Maverick Gaming and Metal State has also done a school, Fortnite school tournament, which was very, very successful. So yeah, big space for that.
So I know you mentioned that you did some coaching, and basically what the premise of that was that my Apex team basically just asked me, yo, can we just post on this Facebook group, which is like Apex Legends South Africa on Facebook? Can we just post here that we want to do some coaching? And it was the perfect timing for it, because just after that, we got access to custom servers. So we started hosting these Apex Legends custom games that happened every Friday. And we didn't allow the top teams to play. Because we
That's
wanted,
good, yeah, that seems right.
I want to come and learn. I don't want to get ripped by an oak as a professional.
Throw you in at the deep end. That's what it's
But instead what we did is we asked them to match up one player with two randoms. So offer themselves up on social media and say, listen, I'm keen to make a squad, give me two players. You don't, no skill cap needed, just come join. And during that period, as a professional player, they had the opportunity to be like, okay, push here, you know, move there, watch out for this, play these characters, you better here. And that's exactly what you mentioned.
That would be superbly useful as someone trying to learn a game, to play with someone who's really good. And the good player is in that mindset of, let me talk you through what I need here. You know, let me like, okay, we're going to go this way. I need one of you to go right. I need one of you to cover from that side. You know, this is how you rotate. This is how you know, come with me, we're going this way, we're going to go. It's just someone who can verbalize their thinking, right, is so useful. I mean, I think it would be fascinating because I do radio, obviously we're broadcasting from home at the moment. Yes. I'm in my house with my streaming setup, talking to someone who's in the studio pressing all the buttons.
Wow.
But as a result, it means I have to verbalize every single thought I have, right? I need you to do this, we're going to come in here, I'm going to say this, at that point you need to play this audio clip, then I will need 3 voice notes from the WhatsApp line, that is the bed music I need, out of that we're going to do this, when I say that you can bring the, like, stuff you would just do in moments without thinking, takes time to explain,
Now you need
takes
to
time
articulate
to share.
yourself well as well.
Exactly, and just that articulation of what you're doing is so useful. I mean, if you think about it, and from an education point of view, there's space to use. Going back, the reason sport exists, right, back in the day when sport started becoming team-based and competitive and so on, sport was an offshoot way to teach young people how to be good in the military. It teaches you teamwork, it teaches you discipline, it teaches you sacrifice, it teaches you all of those things. All of those team sports came up as a way to teach army shit to people, right?
It's also the best reality TV on ever seen.
Yeah. But then that morphs, and I mean, so many of the esports are strategic, strategy-based, team play. You need to communicate. You need leadership. You need all of those things. Those are important things for anyone to learn. And whether you learn them playing rugby or playing CSGO, what's the difference? As long as you're learning to be a leader, to be vocal, to be
You're not going to get hit as
communicative.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, those are the things.
I think to add what Rob is saying, like, I think if there was like some kind of resource that combined, like, for instance, when I was getting my ass kicked, I would go to like Neil Guides or like the FIFA analyst, or in Apex I'd watch like Candy Roo or Lulu, and like you learn certain things. You're like you said the word rotate. Some people don't know what that means.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
and when you're playing with randoms and like thirsting, I was like, what do you mean you're thirsting? I'm like, yeah, I've got a drink next to me. And it's like, focus your fire on another player because this person's knocked or whatever. I think there needs to be a space where we can put all this technical stuff together. Also, like hardware, I think a lot of people don't realize how difficult it is. I just got my first gaming PC, and they were just like, I mean, yay, but
welcome, man, welcome.
I mean, but there were so many options that I was like, okay, am I going Intel? Am I getting an i7 or an i9?
Doesn't
Am I
matter
getting
what you say, someone will tell you were wrong.
You know what I mean? Am I getting a GTX, or do I want ray tracing? But what's the benefit? And like, when people were telling me about 144 hertz panels, I was like, cool, man. Yeah, I guess.
Like when you first get into it, like she was talking about accessibility in the beginning as well. You feel like you need a PhD just to like build the thing.
Exactly.
Because of course, one of my good friends, he's massive and he bought his own PC. And the first time I saw this thing, I was so overwhelmed. I'm like, okay, on a PS4 and like something you plug and play. Like this thing is like you feel like you need an IT degree just to like be able to like work the thing. But yeah, so a lot of it has to do with accessibility, not only with the hardware but with the gaming as well.
Yeah.
Like Fortnite, like all the memes aside, like it's popular for a reason. Like people can just get into it easily. If more people like accessibility is the core there.
Yeah. So I think if we take this conversation together and we sort of compartmentalize it around the theme of education, the first and biggest, issue with education, specifically locally, I would say more so, is that we have to have access to the hardware needed for gaming to happen, for esports to actually be done properly, first of all. And second of all, we need the accessibility to the information to teach people how to actually improve and not just mess around and waste your life staring at a screen. Because there's no point, you're not going to learn teamwork, you're not going to learn leadership, you're not going to learn if you're a better support or if you're a better aggressive player. You don't even know, most things. Like for me, FIFA is a complete mystery. I don't understand soccer as it is as a sport. So I sit there and I'm just like, this guy's kicking a ball.
I actually learned soccer through FIFA, like FIFA, I think like 08 or something, or 06. That's how I learned soccer.
So yeah, I think once those things come together, then only we can start up the conversation about esports and education specifically, and sort of putting it into play where we can say, okay, we have a kid that's grade 9 and that is completely obsessed with watching YouTube videos on Fortnite. Now that can be deemed by his parents of a waste of time and he's wasting away his high school career, or it can be seen as an opportunity where that person is so focused. And similarly, when you have a kid in school that's so focused on rugby, can't care about homework or anything, just wants to kick the ball with his friends. That's an opportunity for someone that could be a Springbok one day. Now, we don't have that road to success in South Africa paved out yet. So, and I'm sticking to South Africa because internationally it's a whole different beast. There's a 14-year-old that goes pro in CS and they literally keep him signed in a team for 2 years until he's 16 so that no one else can poach him. That's what happens in
even the servers in South Africa. Like there's so much talent in South Africa, but sometimes the servers just aren't there.
So I've had that experience, and sorry, I'm sidetracking this conversation.
No, go for it.
But only a couple of times in my life have I been overseas with access to a gaming PC where my ping is lower than everyone else's. And like the experience of being in a game and watching someone lagging behind you because you're ahead of them is the greatest thing in the world. You're just like, you are literally looking at where I was 0.3 seconds ago and I'm going to destroy you.
I'm traveling.
And it feels good.
That's so evil.
One day I hope South Africans get to experience that joy.
Yeah, and that is true. I think definitely 5-year plan, something that DNMK definitely wants to work on, at least building a community that's strong enough that we can start educating, and that education can lead to more people being interested in esports and gaming as a whole, and then taking that and curating it and saying, listen, we either have an audience or we have a professional esports player, one or the other, and our community is growing, our scene is growing, the industry is growing. So that's the goal there, and I think a lot of the time people jump the queue a little bit, and they're already like, okay, well, I have a school, I'm a principal at a school, we have an esports team, we're good. Like, no, there's so much information that still needs to go into that little, area for it not to be a time-wasting experience.
I also feel like there's like a whole like maybe it's a generational thing, I don't know, like maybe like a small part of it, because there was this whole notion about like gaming, like 10 years ago they weren't taking it as seriously as sports, and like COVID has shown us like you can tune in, like people are tuning in, like that Fortnite concert, like, it was just a concert,
massive,
and how many million, like 20 million people, like it's like there's a whole stigma, or like if you can even call it that,
stigma.
It's actually like dying around it, because people are taking it very seriously now. And I think, like going back to Fortnite again, that I think it was a 16-year-old who won the world championship, like $3 million, and like I think that's not opening people's eyes to like, okay, this is serious.
Yeah. So while we're on the topic of Fortnite, I would like to take this opportunity to hashtag Fortnite African servers, because I think that this is something that comes up
waiting
very
for servers.
Look, there's
Good
people
luck.
that is like committed to the cause, and if you just ignore it, you're part of the issue. So I mean, even if we just get Fortnite, imagine
Fortnite's a great start.
Imagine if we had an African, like a South African, having a concert in a custom Fortnite service. Like why can't we do that? And I think that is something that we have such an amazing pop culture, music culture, general film enthusiast, games enthusiasts, and that's why we see Rage being such a success every year.
Big Comic-Con has become, after only 2 iterations of it, it's going to become massive in South Africa.
And I think if we look at that, you have to obviously think that, we have to start somewhere, like you said, Rob. And Fortnite is not a bad place to start. It's already something that at least your aunt knows what Fortnite is.
Yes.
Whether
the fact
she...
that if you're going to reach out and cover people, like cover the kids who are playing on their phones at 11 years old as well.
Exactly.
Like if you're going to go for one and make it broad, go for the one that the most people are playing.
Yeah. And at least you can build off of that from there, you know. But I mean, if we can't populate even an Apex Legends server that is in the Middle East, why is anybody going to listen to us if we want any other game servers that are popping up that's new and happening? So we have to start somewhere. We have to populate it. We have to get the commercial market involved. We have to get corporates wanting to sponsor it. We want to start building an education space that is actually viable. And then we can start taking on the world, man.
It would be nice.
It would be nice.
Be nice.
We're dreaming big here now.
sounds
in this,
easy.
in this discussion.
That's the thing. South Africans have never backed down from a challenge. We have some brilliant people. Look at even like Greg Minnaar, like the downhill mountain bike champion. Like
What a monster.
He's doing massive things overseas. Like and like we
As a
put our
38-year-old as well.
when we put our minds to something, like, okay, look at Mr. Elon Musk, like, he's an American, but no, he's born here, like,
claiming
but like South Africans, like, we have the resources, we have some of the world's best, so like, why not?
Yeah,
What
absolutely.
I will say about esports in South Africa at the moment is it does feel like a lot of people are trying to do a lot of stuff without longevity in mind.
Yeah.
Everyone is jumping on to get their little bits of a very small pie
Some train,
instead of growing the pie bigger.
Yeah. If I may add in there, because I've started DNMK, I have learned so much. And absolutely hats off to every single org owner that started back at DGC 2010, 10 years ago. And, people that are running and organizing tournaments online, like the amount of information these people hold on the local esports community is so much, and I learn about it every single day. I mean, my world was only focused on Bish and Twitch streaming and, events and Predator Gaming, and that was my little world. And it expanded out to games that I've never even played. I've had to download Rainbow Six Siege just because I now have a Rainbow Six Siege team.
You need
and I don't understand what they're talking about. I don't know what makes my team the best team in South Africa, and I don't know what I can say or do to make them better. So I need to adapt. I need to understand that this is something that I need to invest my time in. So I know that even for me as an org owner and someone that I've now an org owner, but then someone that was only just in the scene and doing my own thing, thinking I know a lot about esports, there's still so much to learn, even for the pros.
Every single one of the esports games is so involved.
Yeah.
But how can anyone know enough about all of them?
Yeah.
People who have in-depth Counter-Strike knowledge.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much you can learn for League of Legends. or
Yeah.
Dota, or like, you know, the new Hearthstone pack meta, or whatever, you know, Rocket League. Like, there's a lot to keep track of. There's a lot to stay on top of.
But then again, you also have your like gatekeepers of the communities that
For
are
sure.
like it's becoming less and less like him. I'm taking his spare time actually teaching people like that's what you need in the community. You don't need people like blocking people from like enjoying it.
You make a very good point, because I think the community also needs to step up and take itself seriously.
Yeah.
Like the Star Wars community, like that's ridiculous.
They lock you out, right?
They lock you out.
Yeah.
Can I just ask something?
No,
Because you
for
brought up
sure.
a great point. It's like a lot of this stuff is learning on the fly. So there's also like a responsibility when you join a community to take it upon yourself to figure out like what a lot of this stuff is.
Yes.
But the point I wanted to reinforce is that you can only learn from trying sometimes. Like I can talk you blue about like strats in games or how to do, but literally you gotta sometimes just take that loss.
Yes.
Like just keep losing those games and learn and watch back your footage and so it's like it's this two-way road of creating resources for people, but also if you want to take it seriously, you also have to show some kind of initiative to
For
take
sure.
yourself up to another level. You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that's so valuable. And also the best thing for me and what excites me so much about it is because, I mean, I used to go to OC, which is like 1,000 complete nerds that would like pack up their PC every last weekend of the month, set it up in a whole different venue and pray to God it would work because hard drives would break and power supplies would burst all the time. But set up 1,000 people just playing games the whole weekend. And often the servers would break, there's no internet. Like all of these things were just, it was a complete LAN. You know, there was really not much to it. And I think that is where sort of gaming came through, and even arcades, if we can go that far back, where you would actually go to a cafe shop and be like, there's Pac-Man. Like, I've actually been playing Pac-Man a few times. Like, I know my way
And the
around
oaks
it.
who were there spent hundreds of hours
Yeah.
in the arcade,
Just sitting there
standing in
all
front of
day.
that console.
Yeah.
Witness
playing
stays.
Yeah.
Yeah, the guys like the whole
Like
day.
Street Fighter.
Yeah,
Witness
yeah.
Day Street Fighter.
Come on, man.
And you play for free because the other guy's paying for the game to challenge you.
Exactly. And that's the best thing because it was all based off of passion and social. You know, a lot of people think gaming is non-social. I think it's the most social thing.
Absolutely.
Because you're constantly talking to people.
Yeah, Julia, we had a great time during lockdown, eh?
Yes. I must say, hey, we had... Sorry, we're diverting
I was
here now.
never alone.
The
just another day.
the social part of what I experienced when lockdown hit. Now, I'm quite an extroverted person. Rob, you would know as well. We went on many
I'm
good
really calm
dinners
myself.
and, you know, bar crawls and just, you know, normal non-lockdown things. And we used to meet just so many random people, and it was just such a good vibe. For me, I can then go home and then play more games with my friends online who weren't even there with me. So what we started doing when lockdown hit is we all stocked up on beers, and we got, you know, that house party
I
app,
forgot.
house party that blew up, you know, that app you download on your
yes.
phone, and everybody was just having a house party. We had literally put up house party on our phones on the side, phone on the charger, on Discord, playing games, but you can see your friends, and you're cheersing to each other, and we just like playing games for like 8 hours straight. We had a DJ in the Discord channel, which is just a music bot playing like music.
Music bot, yeah.
And we were just
Just
having
jamming.
such a good night. There was a few nights, like a few mornings, I woke up with a hangover where I was like, guys, we need to calm down these house parties. They're getting hectic.
Yeah, like,
That's perfect. That's what lockdown
You know?
has done for the whole world. 'Cause I don't
Exactly.
think- I mean, you know, you're not an outlier in that regard.
Exactly.
Like the whole world found other ways to engage.
Yeah. And I think like gaming should be fun.
It should be fun.
Like
that's the core essence of
It really
everything.
should.
You should enjoy what
Yeah.
you do.
Because I'm new to streaming and I was trying to play what everyone liked, and really I hated a
Yeah.
lot of the games.
You're going
I-
to hate it, man.
Yeah, I played Sekiro.
But people are going to notice that, hey. If you
Yeah,
don't like it, you do
yeah.
it.
I played Sekiro and it made me so angry that I was like, the same boss was killing me. And I was like, why do people like Soulsborne games, right?
Oh, no, not me.
And I
Could
don't
never be
care
me.
for them. So I was like,
Yeah.
what do you like? So to everyone who's gaming, like just play the stuff that you like. And so even like CSGO, I've never tried, but I'm like, hey, I rock Apex. It's great. I play one map on Call of Duty. It's Shoot House. Bit of shipment, bit of shoot house. That's it. That's all I play. Like, there's campers with shields. I'll deal with them. You know? Run around with a shotgun. Hopefully, I get a UAV. But like, just have fun.
Yeah.
Don't
Find
stress
your thing
yourself.
that you like and do it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
And this is really it. Sorry to interrupting. This is really it for me because at the end of the day, even sitting here around a table with you guys and coming back to, you know, what I was alluding to is that you guys are all a group of people that I never thought I'd ever meet. You know, as a ex-dentistry student, if I was to become an oral hygienist, I would have never met you guys. You know, never in my life. I won a giveaway or trip on 5FM when I was a dentistry student first year, and I had to convince the guys to let me go to Durban with them. And it was like a one-night trip, and it was like the best thing of my life. Like, I actually wanted to write it on my CV. I won something on radio. Like, it was that thing. And now I'm sitting across the table with Rob Forbes. So it's like, it just shows you like how gaming does unite. And not even just gaming, but also geek culture, pop culture. Because I mean, The Witcher is another topic that I want to get into. But yes, Alex.
So I think the streaming element has changed a lot, where it's not just people just watching games anymore. It has now become a lot more about personality. If you go look at the top streamer right now, XQC is blowing the charts. 40,000 viewers at any time streaming, and he watches videos.
Yeah.
He watches funny videos and he chats about it.
Yes.
You know, so yeah, I think what I wanted to say earlier was the stigma around gaming and the education we can have. It's not just this person that sits in his house without a personality, who's not a person and just plays games and just focuses on the screen. You know,
Streaming is entertainment. Entertainment requires personality.
Exactly.
Done. Klar.
Absolutely.
There's no alternative for it.
Like I follow.
and South Africans need that education. Right? When I tell someone I play games professionally, like, but you don't look like a gamer, you know? Okay, so how does a gamer look?
Yeah, what does a gamer look?
That's exactly.
Like,
I think that's
If I had one round for every single time someone told
exactly.
me that,
You don't look like,
yeah.
I would be coining it right now.
No, but the personality is a big thing. Like look at the most successful YouTubers like PewDiePie and all those guys.
Oh,
Like,
yes.
I follow KSI and the side note. That's
Okay,
like, but
okay.
they are like some videos. They'll literally go through their own Reddit where people make memes about them. That's it. And it'll be 12 minutes, like be the most
Super fun.
entertaining
Yeah.
part of my day, and I'm like laughing at this guy,
Yeah.
laughing at memes of himself. But that's like just the personality, and like if you're not entertaining, then you're gonna
Anymore,
struggle a bit.
Yeah, so that's a stigma that we can change in South Africa.
Yeah.
And you know, if you're a normal person watching this podcast, we're not weird.
Yeah.
South Africans are
We're not
funny.
weird. We actually like going out and playing games after that.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing is like to let people know that it takes time to do this stuff, right? Like
Yeah.
I watch. It's gonna sound like I like FIFA. I don't. Like, I just wanted to get better at it. So like every day.
We love to hate it though.
Yeah,
We
you know,
love to
like
hate
so every week I'd be like watching "What's up, guys? The Panthers here" with another FIFA 20 video, and it's like he's got like a certain charisma to him, but
Yes.
that took him time. I think like
Yeah.
even Shroud, who's like a little bit more like quiet, or like Candy Roo, who plays Apex. I really dig in
I don't know
Staycation.
Candy, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's all good. I mean, Staycation's also great personality, but you can see that it took them time, and I think we also have to let people know that they can be patient, they can try things, and they can fail also.
And a lot of YouTubers are becoming 10 plus years, and like,
Yes.
they didn't just like start out like massive.
Sure,
They went through so many phases as well.
Also, I think at the end of the day, and I was having this conversation online recently with some people who stream, and to your point about this stuff takes time to learn.
Sure.
I feel like sometimes there's too much streamer meta chasing going
Absolutely.
on. Like, react videos to other videos is popular now. Let's do react videos.
Among Us videos now.
Some people, like, sometimes what you are into is going to be a little niche, and it's not going to be as big as like a variety streamer. Like, if I want to do a stream catching pets on World of Warcraft, then I can do that. There's an audience for that.
Definitely.
It doesn't need to be the biggest
Definitely.
audience in the world.
I like
but I
that.
think people react to the numbers, especially on YouTube. You hear it at the beginning of YouTube videos all the time. Please leave a like so that I know you like the content and I'll make more.
Yes.
Don't make more based on the number of likes you get.
Yeah.
Make
Because
it
you're
because you like
passionate.
the game.
Very,
Yeah.
very
Your
big.
likes will come automatically if you.
The number of Let's Plays I've started watching, they get 3 episodes in. I'm really enjoying it. They didn't get enough likes and they stopped making it. I'm like, just finish the series.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
just finish what you're doing.
Yeah.
Follow it through and get it done. It doesn't need to be always the most popular thing in the world.
Yeah.
Not everything needs to be that. Sometimes just do what you want to do and
Yeah.
just keep doing it, and that's fine.
Yeah. So I definitely want to touch on this as a topic because there's a lot of people that go to Rage Expo that see all the flashing lights and all the, streamers and all the like kitted shirts with all the sponsorships, and they have an assumption of those people that is, for example, with Alix, that obviously he's at the top of his game and therefore he's with DNMK.
Yeah.
But they don't consider how much time he has dedicated to playing just Apex, not expecting for anything to come to them. So I often get DMs on my Instagram and on my Twitter, and especially now on the DNMK channel, where there's so many people that want to be a part of it, want to start streaming, want to create content. And I think the biggest question is because automatically you assume that there's a blueprint, and reality is there isn't. That's just not what gaming is about.
No entertainment has ever had a blueprint.
Absolutely. No one here is going to become an overnight sensation. And if you look at Tendo, for example, who's obviously the DNMK streamer who I'm sort of highlighting, he puts in about 8 to 10 hours a day of streaming 6 days a week, of just live on stream with his personality, camera on, high energy, you know, and you can tell him anything like, listen, it's Adidas this week, make sure that we get this message across, we're spinning it this way, this is the call to action, and it's like you don't even have to worry about it. Like at some point he's going to mention it's going to be a big success, it's going to be a big way that we can discuss it. And that's just the way that people sort of go through their ebb and flows. Now, I think this is something that is always a discussion at Rage. How do we get more gamers and more streamers to do things out of passion and not for return, and get them to fall in love with gaming again the same way that it was back when it was LANing, arcades, and, you know, just plain funny YouTube videos?
Yeah. I mean, what were you going to say?
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with like how gaming in general, I think, has changed as well. Like back in the day, people were passionate because games were offering everything at launch. Like how many games come out now that you have to pay $60 for, and like the game is like half. Like look at the Square Enix Avengers game now. I think they lost like $60 million now because it was half a game. I think people lost a bit of passion maybe, and that's also I think why a lot of people shifted over to competitive gaming because
that's the latest hype actually.
Yeah, you actually get what you pay for. So I think a lot of it has to do with that as well.
I think that's definitely part of it. And I also feel like there's a lot of people want a lot of return without doing the work.
Yeah.
So to your point of streaming, like and to my point earlier, just stream. Yeah. Just keep streaming what you like and don't give a crap about the numbers and let the thing happen. I mean, stand-up comedy, no one was like, here's the structure of a joke. Sure. And also here's the structure of a set.
Yes.
Here's how you put 10 minutes together.
Yeah.
Here's how you upgrade 10 minutes to 30 minutes, you know?
Yeah.
Like here's how you just had to stand up and tell jokes.
And bomb a lot. Yes. I don't bomb anymore, whoever's watching.
You must just stream. Just do what you want to do.
Yeah.
And then you can get to the point where, you know, things will get... Because I understand a lot of people have a lot of passion and want to get involved.
Yes.
But you also need to have something to offer.
Yeah.
The only way you get something to offer is by doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just got to put time in. Unfortunately, that's like everything in the world. No one ever sees the 10 years of work.
The backyard time.
Yeah. We see the success.
Yeah.
So if we can do this little thing, right, where each one of us just gives like a quick, short opinion about what you would say to someone listening that either wants to, you know, whatever your topic might be, if it's a dad asking about their kid wanting to be a pro Fortnite player, or someone wanting to become a Twitch streamer, or someone wants to become a pro Apex player, or someone that just wants to maybe even start curating geek pop culture content and start getting an audience for it, what would your advice be? I'll give it a go as a start. So the question for me that I generally get is the question of, you know, I always go with the spin-off that people think that I'm like this really successful pro esports player that makes a lot of money like the international people do. So I get the question a lot that my kid wants to start playing professional esports. How can I get them to get involved? And my biggest piece of advice for that is always to make sure that you start learning about the local scene, and that being following, you know, local content creators, following local esports organizations, following local tournament hosts. And to name a few, you can start off with obviously DNMK Esports as an org, a.k.a. Arena, Bravado Gaming, Goliath Gaming, and you can sort of, the list just goes on from there. Once you start following those guys, you can look at the players that's involved with them, follow them on social media, see when they go live, see when they start streaming, start attending those events, learn about what they're doing and see how they're talking. And then also from a tournament host perspective, look for ACGL, African Cyber Gaming League, and make sure that you follow them because it's free to play tournaments. You can just enter, it's easy. Middle State often creates a lot of content that is very valuable because, I mean, it has prize pools involved. There's a pro league, there's an amateur league. So that's also a great way to start. And then ATK Arena, who obviously hosts a lot more offline events, like we call it, but very specific at the venue events, which is obviously post-COVID, like what we would be looking for. So I think that's definitely where the space is to start. And once you start getting invested in the local esports community, there's so much to learn, but you then you're on the right path. So that's my piece of advice.
Yeah, from my side, I would say if you're young, I would say play every game you see. Be good at multiple games, because I mean at the moment games are releasing yearly, sometimes even monthly, and do not get stuck in your head that, oh, I want to be pro at this. Try and just keep playing multiple games, find that game, and then you go hard. But I would say, yeah, practice hard, play multiple games, your game will come. That's it. That's what you see a lot of Twitch streaming as well. Some guy had 5 viewers with Fortnite, boom, Apex comes out, he has 2,000 viewers. You know, or he had two viewers with Black Ops 2, boom, Modern Warfare 3 comes out, there he has 5,000 viewers. Yeah. So, yeah, just put in the time.
And also start making friends online, because that's something that benefited you a lot, obviously. In high school, you had friends that played games.
Yeah. So actually, I started with Fortnite. I started playing Fortnite, I saw it was actually pretty good. And then as I started penetrating the South African scene, actually through ACGL, the free tournaments, I actually played against BVD Karim, for people who follow, he's actually one of the top players at the moment. I actually played against him multiple times in ACGL, you know, I saw that this guy was really good, and I started realizing, maybe I'm not that good at Fortnite. Sure. You know, and I actually quit Fortnite because of that.
Oh, wow.
Really, because I played Fortnite, I thought I was like the best, you know, because I mean, I was just playing pubs the whole time. Sure. And then I played against Karim, and he rolled me. Wow. He owned me, he got 21 kills, the guy got 3, you know? Wow. So then I was real with myself, I'm like, okay, maybe I'm not that good at Fortnite, let's go play Apex. And then I started excelling in Apex, and then I still played CSGO, I still played Hearthstone, PUBG, I still played all of that throughout it, and then Apex just went big for me.
Yeah.
And you found your niche.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, so just give it time, find your niche. I like that.
Yeah.
I feel like, because it is content creation at the end of the day as well, it's entertainment. You know, like if you don't have I feel like, and then for entertainment you need passion. Like it's not like yes, you need hard work. Like it is incredible. It's just ridiculously hard work.
Yeah.
But I feel like how he was saying the other day, like not the other day, like I know you were saying about like people are only chasing the views. People are only chasing. If you're only going to be chasing the views and only going to be chasing the numbers and like posting like the trends and the numbers, people are going to start realizing that like people can feel your energy when you really don't want to do something. If you start playing something you really want to play and you enjoying that energy is going to seep through. People are going to see that, and then they automatically going to want to see you. So I really think you need to have be realistic and be find your passion, like
passion,
where you what you actually want to be playing. Because at the end of the day, the people are going to sense that.
Yeah, I mean that was literally going to be my point as well. I was going to say, because people need to stop chasing numbers and do what you like. Sure. Right. At the end of the day, that's what's going to win through. I also feel like people need to cut other people some slack.
Absolutely.
Especially gaming, and I'm sorry to say it, but there is still a contingent of the community who are trash.
Absolutely.
And they will continue to be so. Because anytime you allow someone to be anonymous on the internet and say anonymous stuff,
they can do
bad things will come out. Right? And I feel like if we're going to grow an industry, if we're going to grow acceptance, if we're going to grow acceptance into schools and with parents and with businesses and so on, other people need to start taking responsibility for the people on their Discords and in their games. And calling stuff out and realizing that every little action affects how the community is viewed and what goes on.
Yes.
You know, and in order for anything to grow and get bigger, people need to start behaving responsibly. And I realize gaming, you know, when you're 15 or 16, maybe different story.
Absolutely.
But if you're especially a more established member of the community, or you play more often and you're a little high profile in the lobbies and so on.
If you're thinking from a business perspective,
just be the adults in the room sometimes.
Yeah.
And I think also on the converse of that conversation, because I mean, you do get, and it's not easily regulated on games and online, a lot of parents also are quite concerned, and even sponsors and brands that get involved into esports. Any human that goes onto Twitter and types in esports and starts scrolling through tweets will see someone screaming at someone at some point.
Yes. 1v1 me.
And that's normal, and it happens on the playground, it happens anywhere, but in gaming it's more easily for people to do that because you're hiding behind a screen, you're in the safety of your own home, you can say whatever you want, your identity is unknown, and that is a dangerous space for people. So I think specifically from the converse of that is, yes, be professional, be respectful. You need to understand that if you're anybody that, even if you're like rated second in Fortnite in South Africa, you are an influence to someone.
Yes.
And that needs to be understood from a larger perspective, and also that responsibility needs to be taken. If you're passionate about gaming and esports as a community, you need to take on that responsibility and start acting like the person that you want to be representing that community.
Yes. Yeah.
But at the same time, on the opposite end, as a parent of a child that maybe jumps into a Fortnite server, be involved enough to understand where the mute buttons are, how to turn off voice comms, like understand it enough that you can be like, oh, my kid's annoying me, he's playing Fortnite all the time. Don't be that person. Like, understand that this is the new age of technology, this is the new age of entertainment. You might not like it, but your kid is obsessed with it, and maybe if you wanted to support them a little bit, it would be a much more of an easier conversation in that sense.
Yeah, I think like we got to create more welcoming environments too. Like sometimes I'll be off of like COD just because of like the crazy stuff in the lobby, or just like how toxic it can be sometimes.
Xbox 360 lobbies.
It is so hectic. I'm like, whoa! If people heard that, I think gamers, like sometimes we just got to relax, chill, and create spaces for new people. Even like the language for me is weird. Like noob is like such a crushing like thing to hear when you're playing a game, because I think sometimes people just get knocked down and then you don't want to. So I think like we just got to be nicer to people online. Like I've again FIFA drove me crazy. I might have to see a therapist because of this game. Like people who play like the drop back meta and oh my word.
He's tilting already.
Exactly, like the idea of being like so tilted, and I'm like, dude, I get it, it's weekend league, you want to get into elite, but like what you're doing is so toxic, you know, you're doing like scoop turns and rainbow flicks, and like, I think that part of the game is really frustrating, and I think if we can create like safer spaces for people to get involved, because I think esports and the gaming community as a whole will only benefit from more people coming into it. It'll become more competitive. You guys will have a bigger pool of talent, and like it'll just add more, and there'll be more, also like more voices that are different, you know, because some people are just having fun, and we just want to chill, man. Like, don't be sweaty.
Because I get some people take it seriously, and you want to get really good.
Yeah.
But like, yelling at people doesn't help.
Yeah.
No one has ever improved by being shouted at by random internet strangers.
Yes.
Like, that's never improved anything.
Such an accurate way to describe it as well.
You know?
Unfortunately, that's the truth.
It's not like, oh, thank you, I've heard your criticism, I'll play better next time.
No, it's not like that.
Yeah.
And also, I can definitely attest to this because, I mean, I really, like, it really grinds my gear. As FIFA tilts you, the topic of, like, girl gamer tilts me to the nth degree. I've had so many questions about this, like interviews where, you know, general media would come to me and it's like, how does it feel being a female gamer? And I was like, it doesn't feel like anything. Like, I tilt, I scream, I yell, I go crazy, like...
we're all just human beings.
The only issue is that I have to do my hair and my makeup before I go live, and everybody else...
Me too. I just got a foundation, you know.
But you know, that is the thing for me. I think that gaming should be a super inclusive space where it doesn't see gender and it doesn't see skill to obviously, you know, the esports level, obviously it sees skill, but it shouldn't see skill in the sense that, you know, yelling and screaming at someone because they're worse off than you shouldn't be meta. Like, that's not what it should be. But sorry, Rob, I wanted to mention this girl gaming thing because I also get questions on this, and it's maybe like my second piece of advice, is that if you're a female that wants to play games, you just have to do it. And if people are being toxic towards you, there's a mute button for a reason, and you don't have to be ashamed to use it. You can just be like, listen, I don't need it, I don't need to hear what you're saying, and I'm not going to allow you it, because it's enabling. It's enabling for someone to hear a response from a girl that's, screaming back at them and so forth. So I wanted to touch on that because it's something that comes up very frequently to me, and I also don't like people that play the victim, which is completely different to being a victim. It's not the same thing. I think that people that are horrible to females specifically, but also to other people in games, should be reprimanded and should be called out.
Absolutely.
And I think that you should talk up about it.
Absolutely.
But on the converse of it, don't be as afraid to do something that you love or that you're interested in because someone else is putting you down.
Yeah. It comes back to my point earlier about being, taking responsibility for the scene around you.
Yes.
Like, I find it, my brain doesn't work putting it together like, oh, girls can't play games. That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my whole life. Like, why would you even think such a thing?
Yeah.
Like, how broken is your sense of self that, like, I am a man and thus I shouldn't be beaten by a girl? Like, what?
It's bizarre.
What?
Well,
Like,
the egos
I
get
can't.
bruised there.
Yeah.
Not just ego getting bruised, cool. You're getting ripped on by someone who's better than you,
Yeah.
regardless. Then your ego is bruised. But the fact that someone's gender can bruise your ego, that's a wild connection.
Yeah.
That was gatekeeping, like
Yeah,
to the max. Like
Yeah.
guys were
Absolutely.
like, no, like
And it's
girls
just,
can't.
it's so toxic, it's so childish.
But at the
It's
same
so
time,
childish.
let's not hamper on that too much, because I actually made a tweet about this exact topic where I was like, guys, I'm actually really having a horrible time
saw
playing
that tweet.
games. And so many people responded apologizing on behalf of this kid that was screaming and shouting at me, killing me at the start of every round. And it was horrible. It was horrible to play in a game that is a competitive environment, it's a team sport, but my team was against me just because I spoke and I was female.
Yeah.
And when I mentioned that, like, so many people came back to me and said, listen, you don't have to deal with this. Lobby up with me. I have 4 other friends. We're 5 people. We'll scrim together. We play together. We
Gotcha.
compete versus other people. If there's a hack in the team, we all just leave and we go play a different game. Like, there are so many good people that play video games. So many, inclusive communities and inclusive org owners, inclusive tournament hosts that allow for noobs.
Oh no.
You said that word Tulsi, so I just wanted to see if it was accurate. It does. We can confirm. And we also wanted to see like people that are new to the game, but also people that, might not be having the best time playing the games, being bullied, be allowed to be playing the game the way that they want to.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I just wanted to touch on that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also don't, coming back to our points about just do what you enjoy and what people, like some of the best streamers and some of the most enjoyable streams I've watched are, people playing Sims and Minecraft.
Yeah.
And
Minecraft streams go hard.
they're so
She's
great.
playing Minecraft at the moment.
Yeah,
Like
it's
6
just,
hours.
and like nice, lazy, chatty, wholesome streams are cool.
Yeah.
They're fun. Like, it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be edgy. Not everyone has to be Dr. Disrespect all the time.
Exactly.
Sometimes I just want to watch.
I do like Doc though. I'm better than you. I'm like, whoa, Doc, relax, man.
And like, obviously, there's space for that,
Sure,
because
yeah.
it's arrogant.
For that
It's,
personality, yeah.
6 foot.
and I mean, it's competitive gaming. It's pushy. I want to beat you. I want to
Yeah.
kill you. I want you to know it.
But there's a place for it now.
Yes,
But
yes,
also,
yeah.
there's a place for like,
Yeah.
guys, let's build a nice house today. Rad, I'm in.
Yeah.
I don't always need that other stuff in my life. I
Yeah.
can sit gentle music on in the background
Yeah.
and chill and enjoy something. And we're allowed to just enjoy stuff
Yeah.
too.
YouTube has come to that point where people, like after a long hard day, you won't tune into Netflix anymore. You'll tune onto YouTube to watch your favorite YouTuber or your streamer, just to relax after it. You don't want to like the same how people like relax with movies now. At the end of the day, they'll relax with their favorite streamer, and then sometimes if you have that vibe about you, like
Yeah, absolutely.
It's all
I'm-
entertainment.
I'm one of the biggest Twitch fans. Actually, I would watch Twitch for about 8 hours a day, easy.
Wow.
I would literally I would sit there and I would just watch Twitch.
I often have Twitch on in the background
While
while I'm doing other.
I don't watch TV, I don't watch Netflix, I watch Twitch.
Yeah.
I can't relate, eh?
Yeah,
The lurkers.
That just shows you.
We've had the discussion. She feels like watching Twitch is so pointless. Well, I feel like watching.
No,
is
I wouldn't
great.
say it's
Well, not
pointless.
but
The analogy that I made is like,
you did make a good one.
it's watching another person eat my dessert because I want to play the game.
So I
So,
hear you.
so I like playing competitive games so
Yes.
much that watching another person play
Yeah.
competitive games just makes me feel like I'm wasting time of me being able to play the competitive game myself.
I hear you, and I completely get that, but I completely get Alex as well. Like, I would be really good at Satisfactory if I'd ever downloaded and played it. The amount of time I've watched people play Satisfactory and build stuff and build really incredible setups, I know exactly what's going on. Never played the game. I'm never going to buy it. I'm never going to download it. I'm never going to play it.
But that's to my detriment because, for example, Among Us, like I don't know how to play the game at all. I don't understand it. I can't watch someone that plays Twitch or plays it on Twitch. So immediately I just like block it out. I'm not even going to participate if people are going to invite me to a lobby because I don't know what the hell to do.
I just have fun with it.
Exactly. So that's also the other thing. Like there's and this is basically just showcasing that every person in this room has their own preference as to how they take in content, what they do with that content, who the people are they prefer to watch, what the games are they prefer to watch, what the topic is they prefer to watch, and so on and so forth. So for me personally, I prefer physically playing games, you know, all the time with friends all the time and competing consistently. Like I can do that for 8 hours straight. Alex can do both at the same time, apparently. And you prefer watching and the entertainment
Mobile.
side of it.
Mobile gamer, we haven't.
I'm not. No.
He's actually a mobile gamer.
I'm not actually. I play a game on.
Don't
my
be
mobile.
ashamed.
That makes you a mobile gamer.
Don't be ashamed. You could be a mobile
It's
gamer.
a safe space.
But Mike, I actually want to make a point of that there's a little corner and a niche for every single content creator out there now, like mobile gaming. Like it's such. There are content creators for that.
Yeah.
Like one game only. Or like let's say Among Us. Like, Among Us is a bad example because it's everywhere right now. But like Clash Royale, it's such a niche little game, and people have built massive platforms on YouTube just for that. So there's literally a space for everyone right now.
And I mean, some people like to watch one game.
Sure.
Like there are some content creators who create, and the game will be like hasn't changed in ages.
Yeah.
Well,
You know?
CSGO is a very good testament of that.
Well, I mean, like someone like Riker, who's the only one I can think of, making Diablo content.
Yeah.
He's been making Diablo 3 content for what, 10 years now?
Crazy.
Season after season after season, it's the same grind, it's the same thing. It's like
Dedication.
slight tweaks to the meta, but every week he puts new content up,
Yeah.
and I'm just like,
That's
dude,
pretty crazy.
you've been in this game,
Yeah.
right? You are this game.
Yeah.
And this is why, like, he gets invited to the early access alphas and game testing when the new stuff comes out, because some people are just in that one thing. That's what they do.
Yeah.
And that's cool because there's an audience. It might not be the biggest one in the world, but some people just want to watch one thing. That's what they like.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I think what we're going to do here in closing, because we have so much content, and I think we can sit here for hours.
We
and
can
talk.
actually, that's
Seriously.
Yeah, look.
I think we got very lucky here with the group of people that we got here, and it was a really great discussion. But I would like to tie everything together and just sort of highlight each person's sort of favorite, whether it be content streamer or channel on YouTube or game to play. Just from your perspective, if you can have a little player card, you know, what would be your sort of highlights that you would say is your favorite thing to consume at the moment? Because that can also give people say, oh, I haven't heard of that person. Go Google them and follow them. And I think that's really cool because at the end of the day, that also grows the community in a sense. So shall we start with you this time?
Sure. Mojak Lehoko. I love Diablo, Dead Cells, COD Apex, and probably FIFA.
You changed your tune
But
about
no, when the servers work,
I
EA.
haven't heard you speak about FIFA.
FIFA what? FIFA all day. No, so yeah, I just like playing those kind of games. Some of my favorite content creators are like, I like watching Shroud, he's interesting, Doc is great, Lulu, Candy Roo, the FIFA analyst, Neil Guides. I like anyone who has a passion for a thing and who can kind of articulate why it's great and who is also good at the game. And yeah, man, those are kind of like my favorite things that I'm consuming at the moment. And I'm hyped for next gen. So yeah, I don't know if I answered this appropriately.
That was
feel like we
perfect.
did. Yes.
10 out of 10.
Sounds
Like
good.
we did.
Take two? No. I'm just I think we
There's
got
no wrong answer here.
I have been digging back into, because lockdown, obviously, like, you know, you've got a lot of time to do stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And then occasionally you get bored of the new stuff and you go back to some classics.
Yes.
So, I spent about 6 days mod crawling for Skyrim.
Wow.
And I reinstalled Skyrim, the greatest version thereof of all time.
Wow.
I've been smashed. So, like, I love games with mods. I love games that the community can contribute random shit because it's so much fun.
Yeah.
Right? So that's quite fun. All of those action RPGs are a lot of fun because they're nice and relaxed, offline,
Yeah.
chill content. I can
Yeah.
take them at a pace. I can have other things on in the background. I can watch something while I'm playing. It's not the intensity of online play, which is nice and relaxing. So I've been doing a fair amount of that. And as a result, I've been keeping the other games on Twitch and just like hopping between whatever you're in the mood for.
Yeah.
So to your point of like play whatever you want and play as many games as you can, I've been watching everything. I've been watching people play Witcher and Hearthstone and League of Legends and Counter-Strike and Overwatch and, you know, and then Let's Play series from people playing. I don't know if you've ever played Paradox games.
No.
They're the most complicated, intricate, ridiculous nonsense I've ever seen in my life. But I'm just watching this dude play it and talk it through.
Like
and
the
I'm
Portal game.
Yeah.
no, it's like, I can't even remember what they're called. Paradox make these ridiculously complicated, like, take over the world simulator. grand strategy sims.
Interesting.
Really involved grand strategy. And I'm listening to the dude talk it through, and I'm just like, this is fascinating to watch. I'm never going to do it myself, but this is fascinating to watch. And, you know, it's just been a case of, like, I've just been all over the place. And it's been so nice digging into, as opposed to, these are the 4 sort of games I have on rotation. Those are the only things I'm going to play.
Yeah.
I've just been completely all over the place.
Nice.
So I kind of diversified myself. Like I like doing a lot of things. Like I have my gaming interest like more offline. Like actually at the start of lockdown, when we had all the free time off from varsity, I actually got the first 2 Darksiders. I never played them, and I just grafted them out and finished them. And I got bored of that. And then so the content I watch on YouTube is mostly KSI and the Sidemen. They're just hilarious to me. It's just a good time to watch them. I've been watching Game Ranks a lot as well, but that's because in preparation for Cyberpunk that's coming out. I've been preparing
Always
my
delayed again.
I've been preparing my body for the longest time. Like the hype is just dying down. And
What was your response to the Keanu Reeves announcement of that?
the fact that he's breathtaking.
Yeah.
He is breathtaking. Keanu Reeves is a national treasure. Okay. No, and I've been hyped for Assassin's Creed Valhalla a lot, but I'm also very into comics, so I've been reading a lot of DC, like the new Batman 3 Jokers have been good. If anyone watching wants to like actually get into comic more, Variant Comics on YouTube, they're a good plug. And I like obviously I said I like movies as well, but with everything being delayed and Dune was set to come out now in December, I've been eagerly awaiting that, but I've actually been reading the Dune series now as well.
Okay.
So I've just been diversifying everything I've been doing.
Okay. Alex?
Yeah, so for me, I think my player card is only competitive. 100% competitive. I want to kill you. I want to be better than you. I will be better than you.
Basically, he's put another 1,000 hours into Apex.
Yeah.
To destroy us.
Yeah, so the guy you don't want to play against,
Yes.
don't be in my lobby. I will try my hardest to kill you. Okay. So I'm 100% competitive. I
Send you a friend
cannot.
request.
Yeah, I cannot waste. Well, for me to waste, I cannot waste my time on a story mode game to go through all the objectives, listen to the guy talking.
That's why you play
actually-
an open world
I
RPG.
actually
You do what
played
you
Far
want.
Cry 5. I considered it and I played it for 2 minutes.
Wow.
And I refunded
Yeah,
it.
but it's a bad.
I
entry point.
refunded it. Maybe it was bad. Okay, I'll take
Far Cry
that.
3 is where
Yeah,
it
no, I
peaked there.
played 1, 2, and 3. So that's why I considered 5.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Fair enough.
but I played 2 minutes. It was just too bad. But yeah, anything competitive. Like I said, I played from Modern Warfare 2 all the way to Modern Warfare 3. I played everything from all Call of Duties. I played Hearthstone, PUBG. I played some Rust. I played Apex Legends, League of Legends, Dota, StarCraft 2. I was gold at StarCraft 2 as well. I played Overwatch. I was flipping SR, I think 2,300 at Overwatch. So yeah, everything competitive, I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's my player card. In terms of Twitch, I have so many varieties. When XQC comes on, I like watching him to get a laugh. I like Lol Tyler, Hafu on Among Us, then Tice, Hearthstone. I like RDU, Hearthstone. I like Naska, Serdal. So I can just go on this.
Yeah, I was about to say, get your pen and paper out.
Big
guys.
list.
Can I add, shout out
Big
to
list.
like the local streamers, you know,
Yes.
like
I
Candy
love watching-
Rocks,
yeah,
Tendo
Tendo.
plays, Caramel Gamer, Sam plays, Ruthie by Fire.
Yes.
I'm trying to think who else is like.
Grant Hines.
Grant Hines is
Hines,
great.
yes.
There's a great local scene and very
there's a great
welcoming
local scene.
community. And shout out to them because they consistently make really
Absolutely.
cool
Definitely.
content.
Pac-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, from Roboto Gaming.
154.
Shani makes great stuff. Sam the tech girl.
Yes, yes.
So many great like local content creators too. And shout out to them. They keep making really dope stuff.
Absolutely. And definitely on that theme, firstly, before we move back to that, I wanted to laugh so hard when you just said you refunded that game because we had to convince Alix literally so long to get Golf with Friends. And it is the best game ever. It's on Steam.
Yes.
It's like just this little golf ball and you have to like
play
pull your
putt-putt.
mouse back.
Yes.
And it's like this like
Is
extreme
that the one where you like
golf.
shoot the ball?
Yeah, but
Yeah,
it's like
I know.
it's
Yes.
extreme golf, like the most insane, like custom maps and stuff like that. And Alix got so competitive. The first game he played, he sucked at.
Yeah.
And he's like, I hate this game. And then we were like, no, just keep playing. And then the next game, he wrecked us. Like, this is the best game ever.
Even Fall Guys. I haven't Fall
Yo,
Guys.
Fall
as
Guys
well.
talks me.
I
yo.
hate Fall
I
Guys.
hate it
I
too.
imagine if
I
you're
hate it too.
competitive, Fall Guys must trigger you so hard.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I played once.
The people on there are toxic, holding you back at the
Yeah,
finish
yeah.
line.
Whereas like I love watching Extreme Fall Guys.
Yeah.
I get so
I-
heated.
all
Like,
day.
it's so
I
heated.
love it.
I
It's
can't
so
do that.
funny.
Nope.
Yeah. So for me, because I'm so consumed on my day-to-day life, just like focusing on the local esports community, which is basically Bravado Gaming, a.k.a. Arena, Goliath Gaming. Those are sort of my top three, and then I would say Energy Esports comes in, and you can sort of start looking at like Omnius Gaming and the rest that filters through. There is so many like content creators that fall underneath those spaces, and like I said, I don't spend enough time on Twitch in order to be able to start listing my top favorites. Obviously, whenever Tendo goes live, I watch him because for me it's an extra viewer, and I have a personal
He's great.
interest in it. Also, he really is just a lot of fun to watch. Like from a natural raw talent perspective, there's so much opportunity for him to move forward in that realm. So that's why it was so important when DNMK started. He was the first person I said, listen, I'm locking you down. This is the contract. Like, please. And I had to beg him, actually. So I look a lot at orgs and who are within their spaces. And I have them followed, and not only just in one space, but in all social media things. And I think that's also another thing. If you want to support the local esports community, please make sure you follow every single person. If their posts annoy you, mute them, but don't unfollow them, because it's one of those things that people are still learning and finding their identity. But even the smallest streamers with 300 followers on Twitch, that person can be someone one day, and you can be a part of that growth. And
Also
I think
because the algorithms change like all the time, like
Exactly.
how people grow now as well.
Exactly. And for org owners, everybody takes shots in the dark, You see someone that has a lot of potential, that doesn't have a lot of numbers. From a sponsorship perspective, there's nothing that I can do to convince people that this is, the next big thing, other than time and just helping that person curate and become that person over time. I mean, it took me 4 years to get 10,000 followers on Twitch, and I was streaming pretty much every day, and I got sick of it. Like, I don't want to be live on Twitch anymore. And that's why I'm moving that spotlight over to Tendo completely, because it's someone that has passion for it. So make sure you support those people. And you gave a really good list. I think that's a good way to start and start seeing who those people play with, and take it further. And then obviously from a tournament organizer perspective, that's also another big part of our industry that we need to focus on and make sure that we support those people and shout them out. Like, if someone messages you and says, oh, my kid's playing Fortnite now, what's the next step? Showcase them, ACGL, Middle State, 80K Arena, take them where they need to be, and just safe. Follow them on Twitter, follow them on YouTube, follow them on Twitch. Make sure that you take in that content because that's the only time people would really learn and also grow our community in return. So I think that would be my little strapline card, and obviously DNMK Esports. Yes, we are doing some really cool things, and you know, for this launch of this podcast, we will be doing a bit of a giveaway, so that'll be on social media, and that's also another thing, like, engage with it, even though you're like, oh, giveaway, whatever, I'm not going to win it. Doesn't matter if you're not going to win it or not, just engage with it, because that post goes so much further, and it means so much to the sponsors and the orgs that are trying their very best to grow. So yeah.
Absolutely.
So guys, thank you so much for joining us in this Just Chatting podcast. It really was a fat chat, if I can put it that way. It was a bit of a nod to the Just Chatting space on Twitch. So yeah, I'm very grateful that you guys came through and you guys spent your time here with us today. And we got to celebrate Rage Expo digitally this year, but hopefully next year we'll be back in that dome. Having a good time, giving away Legos.
Yes, giving away Legos.
I've never seen Rob Forbes so excited, like pushing 1,000 rands worth of.
Literally, somebody gave us like.
It was a lot more than, it was like 1,000 rand a box, and there was like 50 boxes.
Rand a box. Yeah, we must have given away 100,000 rands worth.
Yeah.
Like big boxes.
And we just threw it like into the crowd. We were just like, here.
And children to adults, everyone gets hyped.
Everybody.
Lego's amazing.
Lego is crazy.
Adults get hyped because of the price point, and children get hyped because it's Legos.
I want to have like an R2D2. I was calling life size. Sure, I think it was expensive, but
expensive.
I'd like to have an R2D2 like life size.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, guys, hopefully we can all re-intervene this podcast next year.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for supporting this DNMK podcast and being a part of it.
Thank you.
And
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Julia.
Cool.
Bye, noobs. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. We love all of you. We love all
Cheers.
of you.
Signing out.